Hey there, thanks for tuning into Duckbricks. I'm Chris, and I am on a quest to build the greatest LEGO Castle army ever, featuring references to pretty much every single LEGO Castle faction there is. We have covered the Black Falcons, the Skeletons from Fantasy Era, the Lion Knights, and now it's time to shift on back to the villains. Obviously, there are a lot of castle villain factions. You have Cedric the Bull from Knights Kingdom 1, Vladek from Knights Kingdom 2, and the Evil Dragon Knights from Kingdoms. Well, I decided to combine them all, and even take some inspiration from LEGO Nexo Knights, and even some of the Basil the Batlord Fright Knights as well, into combining these into one gigantic villain faction video. Because, you know what, I figured the villains should all unite against the heroes. So let's dive into my custom minifigures right now. The villainous factions of LEGO Castle have assembled, where all of the evildoers have formed a coalition against not only the forces of good, but also against Malak the Malign and his unnatural skeletons. Here, we have Dark Lords from every corner of the realm, uniting for the first time to overthrow their foes and impose an empire of fear. We have Lord Vladek of Knights Kingdom 2, Basil the Batlord of the Fright Knights, Cedric the Bull of Knights Kingdom 1, the Dark Wizard from the Dragon Knights, and so much more. Of course, representing the other factions, we have the Dragon Warriors themselves, complete with their Dark Magician at the helm of the factions. And even the Vile Wolf Pack have joined in, announcing their pledge to serve the armies of evil. But which army of evil will prevail, or will infighting amongst their ranks tear them apart before they're ready to fight? We will see. But now, let's start off with Level 100. For the first time in these videos, we'll be taking a look at the commanders, the chieftains, before we work our way down to the lowliest soldier. For centuries, the forces of evil were kept at bay due to one reason and one reason only. They were too busy fighting amongst themselves to be able to seize any control of their territories. But now, they have rectified that error, where all the forces of evil across the history of LEGO Castle have teamed up in a coalition of doom. Leading the charge are the Green Dragon Magicians and Warlocks. The Green Warlock has transformed himself into a magical specter whose power stretches across the land, influencing all who bow to him. Of course, beneath him are an alliance of all other factions of evil. Basil the Batlord from the Northern Fright Knights, the Wolfpack Renegades, Willa the Witch and her magics, the Red Dragon Warriors, Cedric the Bull and his armies of men, as well as Vladek the Scorpion Knight, and even other dark magicians who defected from Malak the Malign's evil command. Together, these evil forces will sweep across the realm, defeating Lion Knights, Black Falcons, and Dragon Knights wherever they go, until all is controlled within their territory. But who knows how long they'll be able to hold the land before the infighting begins again. But of course, let's take a closer look at each of these individual faction leaders. Even as Lion Knights, Black Falcons, Crusaders, and the Royal Knights squabble over land and paltry fealties, they do not know that evil is brewing and has already united against them, where all the forces of evil have teamed up to not only battle them, but also battle the undead hordes. Of course, the messengers of the land are confused as to how such an alliance could have happened, but it was all the work of the Green Dragon Warriors. These mages and sinister magicians have used their influence over large factions of evil to unite the realms, of course, headed up by the Dark Wizard and witches themselves. Here is the Dark Wizard, who has the power to evaporate in a poof of green smoke, wielding merely a staff of power, glowing mysterious green armor, and crackling energy around his eyes. The witch has managed to enchant herself with monstrous green tentacles summoned from alternate realms, which stretch around her back, making her a formidable foe in combat. Together, the Dark Wizard and Witch sit on this high council of evil, making them some of the most formidable players in the land. Directly working underneath the Green Dragon Magicians serve Basil the Batlord and Willa the Witch. These two rulers are the proud conquerors of Brixylvania, and with them come their horde of Fright Knights, wielding unnatural power and conjuring up spells that frighten all who oppose them. Willa has been armed with a mysterious magical Jestro staff, while Basil has equipped himself with a monstrous glowing red axe, and together they are a formidable fighting duo. Of course, emblazoned on their backs are the crest of the Fright Knights, the Wailing Bat, as well as the Sinister Spider, and all who dare cross them will feel the bite of these vicious fiends. In these troubling times, all know they must have a magician to their cause to form any sort of formidability in battle. Lord Vladek, who naturally has raised his own army of Scorpion warriors, has called upon the aid of a new dark sorcerer. Nobody knows where this twisted mage comes from. Some say he works alone, others say he used to be an apprentice of Malak the Malign, who eventually sought to usurp his power, but no matter his origins, this dark sorcerer has made Vladek one of the most feared warriors in the realm, conjuring up lava monsters and gigantic robotic scorpions to aid his quest for conquest. The Wolfpack clan has always been a secretive, suspicious lot, always keeping to themselves, never appearing to appoint a public leader, but striking from the shadows, an army of mercenaries, thugs, and thieves. And yet, for this coalition of evil, the Wolfpack has begrudgingly appointed a leader to the Council of Darkness, although who knows whether this mysterious, cloaked stranger is truly the leader of the Wolfpack forces, or just yet another mercenary taking on a job to appear as leader and commander, but instead just acting as a spy, waiting for the opportune moment to strike and weaken the Council from within. No one truly knows the Wolfpack force's true intentions, and yet the forces of evil must contend with the Wolfpack hordes, for while they are disorganized and scattered, they are many in their numbers, and numbers are what are needed to combat the might of not just the Lion Knights and Black Falcons, but the fearsome skeletons of Malak the Malign, a plague upon all who live in the realms of Lego Castle. Once one of the most feared and powerful crests in all the realm, the image of Cedric the Bull's darkened visage has unfortunately suffered many losses after facing a massive defeat at the hands of King Leo and the Lion Knights. Cedric the Bull went into hiding for many years. Few knew that he survived and only has resurfaced now as a member of this villainous coalition. Still, he has his loyal few that remain steadfast to his command, waiting for their time to strike. And yet, he has been forced into an alliance with the rest of the Lords of Evil, despite how little he enjoys working with others. Cedric must learn to work together with his new allies if his faction is to succeed, for they have returned from the brink of defeat, and only with their combined strength can they manage to survive and plant a foothold in these combined realms. Rounding out this coalition of cruelty are the Crimson Dragon Knights. Once members of the proud Dragon Masters, this splinter group formed an offshoot faction after they managed to use dark magics to twist the green dragons into beasts of anger, rage, and cruelty, forming a brand new species to wreak terror across the land, the Red Dragons. While their numbers and manpower may be few, they more than make up for it with the sheer might and power and ferocity of their Red Dragons, a blight unlike any seen upon the land. The forces of their Dark Wizard as well as their formidable Crimson Dragon Knights are the only thing currently keeping the skeletons of Malak the Malign at bay, and so they willingly form the coalition in order to drive back Malak for good, or take his place as leader of the skeleton hordes. Only time will tell. Vicious opportunists and savage former heroic knights litter the realms, and one such faction are the Mighty Bear Knights, a trio of 3 knights who once served the Royal Knights but left to become a much more formidable fighting force for hire. These mercenaries, outlaws, and brutish warriors serve as the backbone of the security for the main ruling council of evil, and as bodyguards to the ruling council and yet a faction of their own. Some say they seek to one day hold a spot on the council, for they are the generals of the armies. But until that day comes, they stand silent, fearsome, and foreboding, waiting for their next instruction. But now, we have summed up our look at the level 100 Evil Knights, the ruling council of darkness. And now it is time to turn our eye, starting at level 1, going all the way up to level 90 of the Knights of Villainous Factions, with the first initial grunts. War chants and battle cries fill the air, for the armies of the Coalition of Cruelty are on the march. And so, making up the level 1 forces of evil, we have first off, the armies of the Fright Knights. These are the level 1 Fright Knight soldiers, archers, warriors, pikesmen. They all serve Basil the Batlord and Willa the Witch. Next, we have the Dragon Knights, the Crimson Dragon Knights. These of course serve the Crimson Dragon Wizard, and are beholden to none, fearsome brutish forces. Next, we have Vladek's Scorpion Knights. While they are not many, they make up for it in terms of sheer power, skill, and intimidation. For anybody who sees the crimson flag of the Scorpion knows that peril is about to befall them. And of course, we have the motley crew of Cedric the Bull, a once proud army relegated to misfits, miscreants, and troublemakers from across the realm, who seek to make the once great name of Cedric the Bull feared again. They are joined up with the rallying forces of other factions that have joined their cause across their march, and let's take a look at those level 1 warriors right now. At level 10 we have the Wolfpack Warriors, often underestimated for they seem disorganized and their tactics rough, but together in hordes they make some of the most fearsome fighting forces in the land. Wielding mismatched weapons, swords, flails, scythes, axes, whips, and more, these Wolfpack mercenaries will stop at nothing to get paid. And of course, where labor is cheap and warriors are aplenty, they are easy to buy in hordes, and while their loyalty can be bought, as long as they are kept under the watchful eye and pay of the Coalition of Evil, these Wolfpack warriors will unite to do whatever needs to be done. Of course, these are level 10 because you'll never see them coming, striking from the shadows, ambushing caravans across the road, until it's too late. And as we make our way up to the level 20 General Soldiers, we have the forces of the Green Dragon Knights. Their numbers are many, their strength fearsome, and each and every one of these warriors carries a wicked flail or a massive axe, ready to do battle in the name of their dark warlocks. Of course, these dragons are some of the most feared warriors in the realm, and together they have managed to rally all other forces to the cause of their dark wizard. They serve as the main legions of the armies of evil, serving as commanders of the lesser factions as they sweep across the realm, trying to claim territory in the name of stopping the undead, but also taking much joy in the fact that they cause so much terror across the realm. Who can stop them? Well, that's a topic for another video, but now let's move on to level 30. At level 30 we have the Wolfpack Bannermen, proud warriors who wave the flag of the wolf before assaulting their enemies, who serve as the backbone of the Wolfpack soldiers. These warriors carry their flags, cheer the names of the Wolfpack tribe, and show no mercy for they take no prisoners. Armed with hammers, swords, and axes, these are vicious thugs, but also some of the most reliable assassins that you can get your hands on. And of course, as proud members of the Wolfpack tribe, they are a step above the standard mercenary. At level 40 we have the Cloaked Elite Fright Knights. These Fright Knights are the best of the best, striking fear into the hearts of their enemies and led by the former Batlord himself. Basil Sr. is armed with a powerful relic from a bygone age. Some say that he encountered it through his travels in the stars, while others say it is a magical artifact conjured by Willa the Witch. Regardless, despite the title of Batlord now falling to his son, Basil II, the original Basil still holds much power and influence in the ranks of the Fright Knights, making their forces one of the most formidable in the land. Upon joining this coalition of cruelty, Lord Vladek had only one request: to allow two of his most finest warriors to serve among the ranks of the elite Green Dragon Knights. Some say that it is to learn their powers, to figure out their fighting moves, and understand what makes them such a fearsome fighting force, while others say he is trying to send them in as spies to sow dissent in their ranks, and convert some of the most powerful Green Dragon forces to his side. No matter his reasons, altogether, they make up a formidable company of evil, with just two of Vladek's elite Shadow Knights serving alongside the elite Green Dragon Knights, making them one of the most feared fighting forces in the realm. And at level 60 we have the elite Wolfpack Guards. One is the Hooded Rogue, a mysterious archer, renowned throughout the land for his fighting prowess. Another is the Elder Assassin, one of the oldest and most wizened members of the Wolfpack, and yet still a fearsome brute, ready to chop down any opponents with his axe. And of course, you have the Twin Corsairs, cloaked, hooded, and armored warriors ready to serve in the name of the Wolfpack Army, who of course wear the Wolfpack symbol on their backs as proud members of this vicious gang. These Wolfpack soldiers are not to be trifled with, and yet there are still more levels of soldiers to take a look at. Lesser mages, sorcerers, and magicians have somehow found their way into the company of evil, where even a powerful sorcerer is not even level 100 in this army. That's what brings us to level 70, the most fearsome elite Green Dragon Knights. These gunmetal gray and copper armored warriors will do whatever it takes to defend their magician leader, who commands them from his dragon armies. Of course, this green magician serves the one true dark wizard sorcerer, and yet he may be even plotting to overthrow his master. Who knows what mysterious secrets lie behind that pointy green hat? And now it's time to move on to the next level, level 80. As a sign of loyalty and teamwork moving forwards, the Coalition of Cruelty was bid to send two of their most fearsome warriors to serve as a royal guard, forsaking their original allegiances and instead serving as protectorate of the Coalition, keeping the peace between the once warring factions. First off, we have the Lord Protector of the Green Dragon Knights. His name has been lost to history, but his deeds are legendary, and backing him up is the Princess of the Dragon Knights herself, who is a formidable foe in battle, striking with her fearsome knife. Of course, they make up the Green Dragon faction, but now they serve the Coalition. Lord Vladek himself sent two of his most mysterious Shadow Knights, mysteriously bearing the face of Vladek himself. Some outcry this as an act of dark magic, where Vladek has somehow managed to make copies of himself to serve on the council, while others maintain that these are merely just elite warriors carved out of Vladek's image. Regardless of their origin, they serve as the Scorpion Knight Protectorate, maintaining peace throughout the Coalition. The deceitful Red Dragon Knights have sent two nameless and faceless warriors to aid this effort, but regardless of their true loyalties, they have proven to be formidable fighters in the battlefield. Low on forces, Cedric the Bull has sent his chief advisor to act in this coalition, a devious and manipulative fellow who serves alongside Cedric's most trusted knight, and together they represent the Bull faction. Basil the Batlord, on the other hand, has drawn from the forces of the night to conjure up a knight of sheer darkness, bearing the undead visage of the Bat. This knight is the most fearsome warrior in all of Bloxylvania, and none will live to tell of his deeds. He is backed up by his fellow bannermen, although this was merely a formality, for only one Fright Knight was needed for this assembly, for this Fright Knight is the most powerful of all. And lastly, the Wolfpack have sent their bearded bruiser brawlers. These are the stoic tanks of the Wolfpack armies. Some say they were once part of the Dwarven factions now making up the Crown Knights, but defected to the Wolfpack seeking fame, fortune, and glory. Others say they just happen to have very large beards. Regardless of their origin, this duel of swordsmen and bruisers managed to make their way onto the ranks of the Coalition, and together, these 6 factions represent all that is evil in the world of LEGO Castle. But there is one even greater evil beyond them, and that is why they have united to defeat the forces of Malok the Malign and the undead, unnatural skeletons. But this was just level 80, and speaking of unnatural, it's time that we make our way over to the final level, level 90. Unbeknownst to this coalition of evil, a new power grows within their very ranks, and they are none the wiser until it is too late. Lord Vladek's new magician has been hard at work, for he was the apprentice of Malok the Malign, and, using his dark magics, he has bred an elite fighting force of lava demons. Loyal only to Lord Vladek, this is how Vladek means to retake his power. This is the faction for which power will be held. And of course, they were created in secret. None of the other members of the Coalition will ever learn of these lava demons until it is too late. Lurking in the Shadowlands just beyond the realm of Mortia, these lava monsters are loyal only to the Dark Wizard and Vladek himself, making them technically part of this coalition, but serving only one true master. Of course, Kahuka the Demon leads up the main fighting force, who is said to come from the distant islands, and all around him, lava monsters spawn from the ground, forming an amoral army that is just as bad, if not worse, than the skeletons of Malok the Malign. And so, even if the skeletons are defeated, a greater threat lays on the horizon, and where this is technically level 90 of this villain ranking, we all know they will soon grow into an army far more powerful. But that is a topic for a separate video, and now we have summed up our armies of evil. And so, here are the armies of evil, commanded and united by the Green Dragon Knights. These legions of doom will stop at nothing to defeat the Lionites, the Black Falcons, the Crusaders, the Royal Knights, and all who stand in their way, with their ultimate goal to crush the evil of Malok the Malign's skeleton army once and for all. Of course, these are representing 6 and 7 different factions. We have the Green Dragon Knights, the Crimson Red Dragon Knights, Vladek the Dark Lord Scorpion Knights, Basil the Bat Lord's Fright Knights, even the Bear Knights for Hire, Cedric the Bull's Bannermen, and the Wolfpack, all coming together in this coalition of cruelty. How long will this alliance last, especially with Vladek planning things on the side? Only you can tell the tale. Only one will prevail. And of course, stay tuned for even more LEGO Castle army building faction videos coming your way very soon. Okay, and with that, we have summed up our look at my LEGO Castle faction army for the main villain factions. Malok the Malign, of course, is leading his own skeletons, which we covered in the other video, but all other main villains have united, and who can stop them now? Well, you tell me, what castle faction should I build an army for next as we work together to make the greatest LEGO Castle army ever? That's all for this video. Thanks so much for tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe for even more LEGO news, reviews, discussion, and analyses coming your way very soon, and bye for now.